To this day, that was the perfect thing. I said, wow, this man is really crafty, really smart. He's texting me talking about, hey, I'm outside. How much longer you got? I said, just a few minutes. You know, it won't take that long. Texting again. Time has went by. He's still texting me outside of my job, thinking that I'm inside. Finally, he gets frustrated, and he decides to go inside of my job. Y'all, he calls me on the phone while he's at my job. He is throwing a fit, cussing at people, destroying property, even spit on the manager. And he says, bitch, since you want to be funny, let's see you bounce back from this. All right, everybody, this is part 18 of a love spell going extremely wrong. So, like I said, he fussing, cussing at job, destroying property, spitting on the manager, stuff like that. I'm at home at this point in time. He asking, where you at, and bounce back from this. And I'm like, bounce back from what? So then he pulls up to my house, starts banging on the door again. And I'm talking to him through the door again. He was like, man, let me in. Same spiel, emotional outburst. I was like, look, this time I'm not going for it. And I found what you put in my shoe. Y'all, this is how this man gaslit me. He said, I ain't put no tracking device in your shoe. I knew you was there because you told me you had to work today. That's the only reason why I was up there waiting for you to get off so we could finish talking. I said, so who put it in my shoe? He was like, I don't know. It's probably one of them other dudes that you fool around with, this, that, and the third. I was like, no, you honestly been the only clown I've been wasting my time on. So he's like, can you just open the door so we can finish talking? I said, what else is there to talk about? Gets quiet, don't hear anything, peek out the peephole. It's seemingly that he's going. Still not finna take a risk. So I honestly just go to bed. I go to bed and I have a dream about Brown 2.0. And I mean, this is the most vivid dream to this day that I've ever had. In the dream, Brown is still in the cemetery. Like, we're sitting by his tombstone. We having a conversation. And I noticed, like, so in the dream, we're sitting on, like, the bed of, I guess, I don't know what it's called, but we sitting on that thing that they bury people over and they put the cement over. It's not the tombstone, but it's, you know, the big whatever. And around us is like all the ground is dug up. And so I asked him, like, what's that about? Like, why does it look like that out here? And he was like, you need to look into cemetery or grave magic or whatever. Look into it, and which y'all can look into it if y'all need time. But basically, the dirt he took from Brown's grave, he was planning to do something with it. Come to find out, it's used in hexes, it's used in additional love spells, it's used in so much stuff. So the next day comes, and I get a call once again from an unknown number. Answer, I said, hey, dude, what's up? Like, I'm not in the mood. He was like, can I just come see you? I was like, no, I'm finna head out the house. He was like, are you really heading out the house this time? I said, well, normally enough time you know my location, so you should know my location this time. And he was like, man, if I put a tracking device in your shoe, I would know. He was basically trying to play semantics, like he didn't know and he didn't do it. Still to this day, this man swears up and down he never did it, but I don't know who else did it. Who else could have done it? I said, what's the purpose of you taking dirt from by Brown's grave? Once again, y'all, and he knows this is a pet peeve. He says, when did you see me do that? Sir, I know for a fact that I saw you when you was asking me, did I want to say my goodbyes, stoop down, pick up something, and then when you got in the car, you dusted your hands off. And I said, also, while we on the subject of just weird stuff that you've recently done, when you hugged me, what was that wet substance that you put on me? He was like, hey, can we just meet up somewhere then and talk? I was like, no, dude, I'm kind of done with this. I don't want to talk to you anymore. He was like, yes, you do. Deep down, you know you still want to talk to me. Which, granted, I did. But it's the fact that at this point in time, I'm having a battle with my mind and my heart. My mind and my heart are 50-50 split, but I still have some type of control. After that, the next day, I go to work. Seemingly, I thought so. So, go up in the... It's early in the morning, and the manager informs me, due to his behavior, I am now a liability. They have to let me go. I turn around and walk right back out the door. I'm kind of pissed off, low-key kind of hurt, because it's how am I finna maneuver from here? Y'all, this man just literally pulled up to the front door. He was like, man, just get in. I'm sorry about all that, but I'm going to make everything good. You can move in with me. I'm going to pay your bills, this, that, and the third. I said, no, I'm not moving in with you. You can still pay these bills, but I'm not going to move in with you because this is stupid. And I said, and as a matter of fact, since you cost me a job, you finna pay my bills until I find another one. He was like, oh, I ain't got no problem doing that. And I said another thing. How are you still working? Where is Biggie, this, that, and the third? Here's the get you gotcha. Whole time, him and Biggie had a joint account with his name on it, so he just has access to every dime Biggie makes. I said, so why does he do that? Because keep in mind, Biggie told me that he was basically being blackmailed. Brown made it seem like, oh, he's in love with him, this, that, and the third. I said, okay, well, what if he's like, can I just take you home and we can talk? Once again, against my better judgment, I let him take me home. But instead of us talking, he gets a phone call from the same familiar voice that I've heard 2 other times. He was like, voice changes, goes like this to me, and I'm like, first of all, don't shush me because I don't have to shut up. Tells me, don't talk. So I'm listening. His voice changes to a tone I've never heard. And he's trying to speak in code to this person like he's just chilling or this, that, and the third. Drops me off, says nothing. Low key, I wasn't cool with this because normally you beating down my block, so now all of a sudden you have to go when you get this phone call. So later on that night, I get a call. He was like, hey, check outside your door. I left you a gift. So I opened the front door. Lo and behold, he has a big ass bouquet of flowers. He was like, did you get it? Did you like it? I was like, yes, thank you. That was very nice. That was very sweet. And he proceeds to say, hey, so I understand that we done had like some issues, so I'm just going to give you time to yourself. I want you to know I still love you and I want us to work. I'm just going to give you some time, take these flowers. It's a gift and I'm going to keep in touch with you. At that point in time, I'm getting ready to lay down for bed. I get a text message from Biggie. Biggie's gotten out of jail. Well, Biggie had been out of jail, apparently. Like, he didn't stay in there that long. But unfortunately, he did get dishonorably discharged from the military. And I was like, so what's been going on with you, this, that, and the third? He was like, to be honest, what happened that day was the best thing that could have happened in my life. Even though I lost a lot, I gained so much clarity and I have a clear headspace. I was like, okay, so what's going on? What's new? He was like, my mama took me to New Orleans to see this lady. He was like, when he went in the shop, the lady instantly knew that somebody had basically put work on him. She basically, in so many words, severed the bond he had with Brown. He said he had seen Brown since then. Brown has been talking to this other dude who, at this point in time, we'll call him D. So he was like, I think that the trip will do you some good. You should let me take you there. I said, you know what? If it worked for you, it can't hurt to see if it's going to work for me. Okay, so this is part 19 of a love spell going terribly wrong. Still on the phone with Biggie. He telling me he got somebody who can possibly help. I was like, okay, cool. When can you take me? He was like, I can't do it today. Unfortunately, he's out of town. He's driving trucks, so he won't be back in town for like a week. I was like, cool. I can just stay out the way, sit low, and do my best to stay away from Brown. Keep in mind, like I said, I'm having a battle at this time, y'all, between my head and my heart. It's 50-50. Fun fact, my cutoff game is strong. I mean, it's families, friends, any ex. I can cut anybody off with the quickness. I have never had attachment issues to anything. It can sound like whatever. I promise y'all, magic is real. I was glued to this nigga. Even when I wasn't with him at this point, I'm thinking about him every day. So I was like, yeah, if she can help, most definitely, let's do it. Week to spare. So I go to bed. I'm thinking, okay, when I wake up in the morning, I'm making a list of all the things I need to do. Go to bed. I say at least 6, close to 7 o'clock in the morning, I hear banging on my door. I'm not a morning person. I instantly wake up. I'm not thinking about none of the craziness, none of these people. I'm thinking maybe it's something dealing with maintenance, because who's up this early in the morning banging on my door? It's odd. I was like, who the is it? They was like, D, you and with my dude, y'all, I open the door. I'm not a morning person. Before I could get a word out, he swung. We get to fighting. Fun fact, I got the better of him. D, if you watching, it's still you too. I had not been in a fight this long for a very long time. Like, it lasted a good bit of time. Until finally, one of my neighbors came out because she was taking her kids to school. She threatens to call the police. He leaves. She asked me, am I all right? I'm fine, ma'am. Sorry you and your kids had to see that. I go back into the house. I call Brown. I'm going slap off. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. He went through my phone. I told him I'm in love with you, this, that, and the third. So he been stalking your Facebook and all this craziness. I was like, so this is one thing I've never had to deal with any other relationship I was in. It's never been no fist fights or phone calls from your bitches. Like, crazy. He was like, I promise you I'll make it right. I said, how are you going to make this right when, one, we are not together? Two, he has no reason to be contacting me doing this, that, and the third. He was like, it don't matter if we together, we still forever gonna be locked in. I was like, you have got to stop saying that and get a grip. He was like, you can't feel it. Just all this stuff. We on the phone for a good 10, 15 minutes going back and forth until I hear a door open. He says, I gotta go. That's not good enough for me. So I call back. And I mean, I'm blowing up the phone. And D answers. We get to arguing again. I said, look, so I'm not studying dude, this, that, and the third. He was like, oh, then if you're not studying him, why da-da-da-da-da? Something I really don't want to say for the sake of the video. I was like, I really don't know why he did that. That's his business. Like, you would have to ask him why he did that. And D's like, okay, well, I'm going to see you again, this, that, and the third. I said, listen, we can go as many times, as many places as you want to. It's whatever. Because I'm not fighting you over this dude. I'm fighting over my respect. Brown 2.0 is in the background. Nah, I didn't want this. I didn't want y'all fighting over me, this, that, and the third. I said, yes, you did. I hit him in the background, started arguing. Phone drops. I'm assuming at this point they're tussling. I lay down and go back to sleep. 20 minutes later, I hear banging on my door and my phone is ringing. It's Brown, of course. So I was like, I answered the phone. I was like, can you please stop banging on the door? Can you just come open the door for me? I was like, why? He started crying to me. He put me out. I ain't got nowhere to go. I said, oh, so you was staying with him? He was like, yeah. I said, and so how long had y'all been talking? Y'all, here's the get you gotcha. This man had been in a relationship with this dude for 2 years. Like, what's going on? He was like, yeah, that's the dude that burnt me, and that's why I've been trying to get over him, but he keeps following me, keeps stalking me, this, and the third. I said, did you do any of the things that you did to me to him? He was like, some of them, but not as much because I didn't like him like that. I said, so basically everybody that you talk to, you do love spells on? He was like, yes. Breaks down, started crying about his childhood, how he never met his daddy, his mama used to abuse him, all this other stuff. I'm still conflicted in my head having a battle, but I'm feeling a little bit more spiteful. So I was like, you know what? Go find you a box and a bridge and live your best life. He starts crying profusely, threatens to do bodily harm to himself. So, rewinding back when he threw up my relative that passed away because they had did bodily harm to themselves, that struck a nerve with me. I'm not thinking about how you just disrespected them. I'm thinking that I don't want him to hurt. So I said, you know what? You can't come in here, but I'll go with you for a drive till you clear your head and you can get everything you need settled out. What you finna go, what you finna do, what's finna be your next move. So he was like, cool, I understand, but I gotta use the bathroom. I said, you can outside, like you don't have to come in here. He was like, no, I really gotta use the bathroom. I said, I really don't want you up in here no more. He's like, man, I've already been up in there. I ain't did nothing. Can I just use the bathroom? I promise you I'm going to come directly out. I say, okay, cool. Let him in. He uses the bathroom. It took him a minute to come out the bathroom. I'm at the front because as soon as you come out, I'm sitting down on the sofa so I can see in the hallway. If you go into any rooms, all the other doors are closed. Boom. Took him a minute to come out the bathroom. He doing his business, whatever. He come rush to the door. Man, just come on, let's go. I just got to clear my head. All that good stuff. We get in the car. Now I noticed that he had been drinking. Everybody keep in mind, at this point in time, at the most, it's 7:30, 7:45 in the morning. Drinking, smell it on his breath. At this point in time, his mood changes. He's like he's happy, kid in the candy store, can't stop staring in my face, backs into a car, puts the dent in it, drives off like a bat out of here. I was like, you got to get yourself under control and kind of seek some type of help for whatever you have going on mentally, because one, you playing with stuff that I don't even think you fully understand and it's going to backfire on you. He was like, but I got you, didn't? Because honestly, everything I put you through, you're not afraid of me. Oddly enough, y'all, I hate to sound delusional, but I know this man could hurt me, but I don't feel like he would hurt me. Like, I'm aware that it is very much so possible with everything going on. Am I delusional believing that he loved me? Possibly. Like, y'all, it's some stuff I mentally, emotionally, I cannot explain to you what this feels like. So, riding around, there's not much talking or conversation going on. He wants to talk about us. I said, you have a whole dude. I asked him once again about the dirt. He was like, you know what, one day, real soon, I'm going to show you what that dirt is about. Asked him once again about the dirt. He was like, you know what, one day, real soon, I'm going to show you what that dirt is about. You acting crazy again. He was like, I'm going to show you crazy. I said, okay. I said, you do know I'm crazy too, right? At this point, I'm starting to get with him and match his energy. Started transforming to a person I didn't even recognize. He starts asking me questions about other people that he's assuming I'm dealing with. Pretty much he assumes I'm dealing with all of my friends. Y'all, keep in mind, he's been chasing me to this point, but he comes out of his mouth and say, yeah, so if me and you ever get together, you're going to have to cut all your friends off because you're not going to have enough time for them anyway. So I was like, so what's your game plan? Like, and one, if you got all this money and access to this man's stuff, why don't you just go get your own? He's talking about he's talking about Biggie won't leave him alone, all this, that, and the third. Now, I just got off the phone with Biggie. Biggie's done with you, seemingly what he's told me. He's then like, yeah, I saw Biggie just the other day, and he couldn't believe I had moved on. And I said, what? He was like, oh, well, I ain't saying I moved on. I'm just saying that I said, do you even know what you're saying? He just shuts down like, man, I don't know what I'm thinking right now. I just got so much going on. We riding around. I'm not going to say I was taken hostage, but literally we spent the majority of that day together. We riding around all day. We drinking, having a blast, good time. We pull up to my house, and he was like, kiss me, good night, all the other stuff, smooch in the car. My guard is completely down at this point. Getting out the car, it feels like a slow, cold walk to my door. Like, it's not even that far of a walk. Like, we're talking less than a minute from the car to my apartment. Everything is tunnel vision. I can feel my heart beating. It's cold. It feels dark. It is late at night, but it just feels dark. I'm knowing when I step into this apartment, something has changed. Even before I can put my finger on it, I know something was not right. I asked him once again about the dirt. He was like, you know what, one day, real soon, I'm going to show you what that dirt is about. You acting crazy again. He was like, I'm going to show you crazy. I said, okay. I said, you do know I'm crazy too, right? At this point, I'm starting to get with him and match his energy. Started transforming to a person I didn't even recognize. He starts asking me questions about other people that he's assuming I'm dealing with. Pretty much he assumes I'm dealing with all of my friends. Y'all, keep in mind, he's been chasing me to this point, But he comes out of his mouth and say, yeah, so if me and you ever get together, you're going to have to cut all your friends off because you're not going to have enough time for them anyway. So I was like, so what's your game plan? Like, and one, if you got all this money and access to this man's stuff, why don't you just go get your own? He's talking about he's talking about Biggie won't leave him alone, all this, that, and the third. Now, I just got off the phone with Biggie. Biggie's done with you, seemingly what he's told me. He's then like, yeah, I saw Biggie just the other day, and he couldn't believe I had moved on. And I said, what? He was like, oh, well, I ain't saying I moved on. I'm just saying that I said, do you even know what you're saying? He just shuts down like, man, I don't know what I'm thinking right now. I just got so much going on. We riding around. Yeah, I'm not going to say I was taken hostage, but literally we spent the majority of that day together. We riding around all day. We drinking, having a blast, good time. We pull up to my house, and he was like, kiss me, good night, all the other stuff, smooch in the car. My guard is completely down at this point. Getting out the car, it feels like a slow, cold walk to my door. Like, it's not even that far of a walk. Like, we're talking less than a minute from the car to my apartment. Everything is tunnel vision. I can feel my heart beating. It's cold. It feels dark. It is late at night, but it just feels dark. I'm knowing when I step into this apartment, something has changed. Even before I can put my finger on it, I know something was not right. So, get in the house, like I said, it's dark. I see a slither of light coming from the bathroom. I open the bathroom door because I'm like, it started hitting me like he did go in here to use the bathroom. Like, he didn't cut my light off. So I'm thinking I'm just going to go in there and cut the light off. Walking through, pushing the door open, it's literally like dirt, ash, other things are in it. My mind instantly went blank. I don't remember anything that happened after that until I got up. When I got up the next day, this was my door. And I can tell I had been tampered with. I just felt really weird. I was not myself. Like, I was not myself in any type of way. Like, even my physical appearance at that point in time doesn't look like me. So, like, something that day really changed in me. So, just whatever. Like, for the next couple of days, like, I couldn't prove anything, but I just knew, like, if it wasn't him, something was because of him. Got the door freaking fixed. I locked myself in the house, like, literally for days at a time. And because I needed something to righteously make sense of everything that had been going on. So, fast forward, he's still blowing up text my phone. I was like, hey, I don't feel like talking. And honestly, I feel like you did something. And he responded back, together forever. So eventually Biggie calls, hey, I'm back in town. Like, cool, we can see if we can get somebody to help you or whatever. So Biggie comes by, get in the car, picks me up. We head to New Orleans to see the lady who helped him, to see if she can do anything for me. Okay, so riding in the car with Biggie, we having various conversations. The first thing, I don't know why it popped up on my mind, but I was like, you need to get him off of your account. Biggie then says, what are you talking about? I said, y'all have a joint account where he has access to your money. He says he didn't know anything about that. He said anytime he had given him money, it was via Cash App, Apple Pay, stuff like that. He said he can believe it because he knew the bank teller, because apparently Biggie was not good with his finances. So when he got with Brown was telling him, hey, get an account, this and the third. He started telling me that he saw Brown the other day and Brown didn't like his reaction. I was like, what do you mean he didn't like your reaction? Like, normally I would be drawn to Brown. I go up to him and say X, Y, and Z, whether we were on good terms or not. He was like, this time I didn't approach him. I didn't say anything. I just kept going. He then said Brown came over there towards him and looked in his eye, and it was like Brown was shocked, heartbroken, surprised, just a whole bunch of emotions he displayed on his face. And he was like, it's like Brown knew that, like, jig is up, like, I'm free. At this point in time, I did not tell Biggie about anything that had just happened. I asked Biggie, like, had you heard or seen anything from Jamal? He was like, Jamal is in prison. I was like, what for? He was like, anything you can think of, name it. Like, they threw the whole book at him. It don't look like Jamal is getting out anytime soon. So I asked him, I was like, so where did you discover this lady? Like, what's going on? He was like, his mom actually knew her from a while back because apparently his mama had put some voodoo on his dad and to get him to fall in love and stuff like that, but he was the byproduct. But then their relationship turned abusive. The mama had to get away. The whole rundown. The whole time that we're on the car ride, I'm getting text messages from Brown. Like, I feel compelled to respond to the message. He texts my phone consistently 3-4 times, not back to back, but he had been texting throughout, like, the entire trip, but I wasn't responding. I wasn't really responding to anybody. I wasn't checking notifications. I was just still, it's like, I don't know if anybody has had something put in their drink before, but it was almost like that. Like, I'm just trying to gain my mental footing back. My body feels weird. Like, I have full function of my motor skills, but everything feels like delayed. Like, it's like it takes longer for it to connect from my brain to my arm to move or certain things. So I'm almost in like a zombie comatose like state. The first few days after the situation happened, it was worse, but I just blamed it on like grief being sad until later I found out what it possibly could have been. We finally get to our destination. Whole time I'm thinking this is finna be some type of shop that he takes me to. But no, this is not a shop. This is somebody's house. I am skeptical at first of getting out because the neighborhood looks kind of desolate, run down. It didn't look like a place that anybody really was living, and if they were living there, I didn't feel like they were living in the best conditions. We get out. It's a cold breeze come, and I see what looks like a shadow in the distance, like beside the house. But then when I look directly at it, gone. And I was like, I don't know if this is the best thing. He was like, I know how you feel and trust. If don't nobody else know how you feel, I know exactly how you feel coming up here, going through all whatever. But I'm telling you, she cut the string. So we knock on the door. This little older black lady comes up. She has dreads. She gets off the same energy as the lady I first got the oil from. So soon as she lays eyes on me, she was like, what have you gotten yourself into? All right, everybody, this is part 24 of A Little Spell Going Terribly Wrong. So we get to the door. She says, what have you got yourself into? Before we enter her house, she has us do something. I guess it's for her spiritual protection, whatever. She didn't want any type of negative energy or spirit to, I guess, jump off of me and inhabit her home. While we sitting there, I'm telling her everything that's happened. Brown, the oil, Jamal, the dirt at the cemetery, Brown, I'm telling her everything. So she starts breaking it down to me as to what then basically happened. She said the oil was just simply an attraction oil. The lady told you, right? It's just gonna magnify what you already have. It was like you never needed it. It was overkill once you put it on. I feel okay, understandable. I said, so why did I keep running into like crazy people? She said, no, an attraction oil is just going to attract everybody to you. Good, bad, ugly, evil, good. You didn't put any type of protection on the type of people you wanted to attract. So you got everybody a full range. That was the first thing. She then tells me the graveyard dirt is used for any range of spells. It's super strong, but it's good in hexes. And it's good in love spells. She was like, even though you unknowingly and unwillingly did love spells, you're still going to suffer certain repercussions. From that point, she breaks out 2 candles, strings attached, in a bowl. So this is what Biggie was talking about. She cut the strings. So she pulls out 2 candles, bowl, the string. I'm going to find a TikTok video. This is basically what she's attempting to perform on me. She tries a number of times, add different chemicals on the candle to make it catch fire. It did not want to light. It took an obsessive amount of times for it to light. When it did finally light, the candle that represented brown didn't like normally. It kind of lit it. She lit it from the top, but then the fire kind of, I don't know, it burned the inside of the candle up first, and then it collapsed. And then the wax went over to mine, and mine gradually melted down. String was still intact. She then tries it a second time. Second time, the candle's like a little bit easier. Both of the 2 candles fall over, create a pool of wax. She proceeds to do it a third time. Third time, the candles lit easier, but we still got weird results. Every time she tried it, the strings remain attached. So she tells me, she says, I don't think I'm going to be able to break this for you. She gave me other options of people who to go talk to, but honestly, I was not trying to be in New Orleans on a literal, no offense to anybody, a witch hunt, like trying to find somebody to do this with her. So she was like, only thing I can advise you is to practice protection magic and try to stay far away from him as possible. I was like, once again, that's difficult because he's went through these measures, cameras, he's a part of this organization. He knows the dude at the funeral home. He knows the bank teller. He knows this person. He knows that person. And more people. She also does I don't know, it wasn't any tarot cards involved, so I don't know if you would call it a reading, but she read Brown's energy. And she was like, I can see that his soul is fractured into so many pieces, and he has so many ties with different people. I was like, what kind of ties? She's like, soul ties. And I asked her, like, how is soul ties created? If you know, you know. If you need me to explain, just come in. But she told me, like, in so many words, Brown is possessed. Like, he's possessed by so many demons, spirits, and entities. The love you have for him is lost. Like, there's really no saving him. Like, only thing he can do is drag you down. And then she told me, like, when I was on my trip she told me, and you'll be back again. So then she pulls out this bowl, which I don't know exactly what's in it. She starts reading the bowl. The bowl, it doesn't have like words, letters, like any type of language. So she read it and she was like, I can tell you what your future's gonna be like. Instantly, I'm kind of taken aback by this because I don't know what she's getting ready to say. Like, y'all know that feeling you get when somebody's died and it's like this cold sweat and you kind of go deaf. Once she told me what my future, I guess, could entail, I froze up. Like, I sat there at the table. I was at a loss for words. And she tells me something I wish, honestly, like, her words still haunt me to this day. All right, everybody, this is part 25 of a love spell going extremely wrong. She said, in order for the connection in this life to be broken, one of us has to die. She also says it's a possibility that one of you will die from the hand of the other. However, she informs me, even though the